I'm actually adding this to the front of the video I just finished recording because I was talking about lack of movement on the coaching hire front, as well as roster questions. And news broke that William Green from Jacksonville State is expected to be the defensive line coach for West Virginia. Now, whether or not he is going to be defensive coordinator hasn't been mentioned. It would be a big step up for him. Don't really expect it. This would mean that the defensive line coach has been hired before the defensive coordinator, unless we already have an agreement in place with somebody as defensive coordinator that has not been announced and has not been leaked at all. There's chatter, but nothing significant. Of course, Rodriguez did say that hiring a defensive coordinator was going to be his first priority. Expected that before Christmas. Hasn't happened. This would now be the fifth coach hired without a coordinator on either side of the ball, and don't quite know what's happening. Don't know at all what's happening behind the scenes. Seems a little bit odd. Now, of course, none of these, not one of the hirings has been officially announced. I think the first four are pretty unofficially official. This one is just being broken by some insiders. I think Matt Zenitz at CBS broke it first. But we evidently have a defensive line coach. We have a couple of guys on offense that we don't know where they are going to be coaching within the offense. And we will, I guess, take it from there. Now, please finish watching the rest of the video. I'm going to talk about who's still here, who has left one way or another, and who is coming in among the players, and a little bit of what that means. Offensive side today, defense later. All right, guys, I got to go. Well, I actually was not only hoping for, but kind of expecting some announcements or clear progress on the coaching search, hiring. And, well, we're mid-afternoon. It hasn't come. Might still find out something. But it's not panic time. It's not panic time. But this does have to be affecting the bringing in, signing transfers. And there are places where we really need high-quality transfers. Whether or not it's going to affect retention, of course, we've got some guys who are kind of waiting to see, I suppose, and they're not seeing. Well, since we don't have anything to talk about there, I want to take a look at who is staying so far, who's coming in as far as freshmen and transfers, who is moving out via transfer, and who graduated. So kind of a look at where do we stand so far. And I'll probably do a bigger version of this early in January when the portal is closed. And, might do that one live. We'll see. Okay. Going to do the offensive side today. Defense next day or two probably. And meanwhile, this is WVU Football Going Deep. Please subscribe. Thank you for those of you who have really helped us move along on the subscriptions, growing fairly rapidly now, which is delightful. And it does mean I now can have that little thanks button down there. And those of you who are aware of what it's for, feel free to use it repeatedly. All right. I am Forrest Poston. Please make comments, not necessarily about that. and click the thumbs up and the notification bell and all of those good things that help the site, the channel. All right, we'll start with the fancy positions, such as quarterback. Right now, as far as scholarship quarterbacks, we have Nico Marchiol and Khalil Wilkins. That's it. Ryder Burton hit the portal, and Garrett Green graduated. We do still have, at this moment, walk-on quarterbacks who have been around for a while, but I do expect those guys to either give up football or move on because of the 105 roster limit that's going to really mess with the walk-on program. Be surprised if there are any walk-on quarterbacks left. And if we're going to get walk-ons who stay, I imagine maybe the offensive line. We've got some guys and a couple of linebackers that Rodriguez might want to hang on to somehow. How they'll play around with that, everybody is still trying to figure out, every team. This is brand new territory. Coming in, quarterback, we've got Scotty Fox. Should be good. Mobility, he's not super fast, but he's mobile. Should be able to work in the Rodriguez system. We'll see how that goes. Rodriguez did talk about possibly bringing in a transfer for competition and depth. Like I say, we will have 3 scholarship quarterbacks as things stand, one of whom is a true freshman, one a redshirt freshman, and Marchiol should be poised to break out. Running backs, at the moment, we're good. But Jaheim White is still a question mark. Well, actually, nobody that I'm aware of has actually just said, I'm staying flat out. Announcing Chad Scott as the running backs coach should help keep White, Dunbar, and Hubbard. What will happen with Judah Price probably should transfer down. He's not going to likely to get one of the scholarships. Clay Ash, looked pretty good last year. I have to see how that plays out. But right now we have 3 really good scholarship running backs that should fit the Rodriguez system very well. Coming in, we have Desanor, also should fit very well. Going by the transfer portal, Jalen Anderson and C.J. Donaldson, who is, of course, going to be at Ohio State. Graduating, nobody. Now, receivers, we're hurting. I think, we're hurting. Let's see. We do have Bray, Williams, Gallagher, Raymond, Johnson, Collins. Now, Bray, we never really got to see because he was injured early and just never really got over that. Williams, he caught his, second pass of the year in the bowl game. So we can't really, say, hey, he's going to be a big factor. Gallagher should be big in the Rodriguez system if he stays. Now, work ethic, that's not a question. Gallagher is willing to work. He knows how to work. So hard edge is not an issue. But, he really came because of the culture, the family. Don't know how that will translate. We'll see. If he leaves, serious trouble on the receiving side. Raymond, very talented receiver. He's going to be a very, very good receiver. Is he ready his sophomore year? Talk was that he was close, by the end of last year. How he does is going to make a big difference. How he does in spring camp. Johnson came in, was put at tight end. That really didn't work out. Put at receiver. Haven't heard much of anything. So, again, can't have great expectations. Collins, super fast. He, again, could be a big player in a Rodriguez system. Experience is an issue. Last year, he was still learning a lot about the receiver position. So, how to do it with more than just speed. Coming in, Jaleel Hall and Tyshawn Dews. Dews is a West Virginia native. Good enough, maybe. Hall, highly rated if he sticks. Again, there is this issue. Top receivers don't necessarily want to play in a Rodriguez system because about 65% running fairly consistently. That does not leave a lot for the receivers. I think we had 3 receivers at Jacksonville State who had about 30 receptions each. But you're not likely to get higher than that. There are opportunities, but there's sort of a top end that you're not likely to go past. Good receivers can work with that. The highest quality receivers want a shot at big numbers. So, don't know. Headed out, and that's why we're hurting. Clement, Farmer, and Ray, transfer portal. Farmer is already down at UCF or committed to UCF, and Preston Fox semi-officially is retiring. And a lot of, he just took some really bad hits the last couple of seasons. Graduating, I suppose, Richardson, who he did make some important catches, did not have a big season. There were some issues. He was not committed to blocking, but whether he graduated or not, he's out of eligibility. Some people said, I thought he was in the portal. No, he's out of eligibility. He's done. Unless a pro team takes a flyer on him, he's done. Tight end, it's kind of iffy. Samarco was looking good. Caught a couple of passes. He's got the ability to do that. He is not just a blocker. After him, we've got Jen Ross. With some hope he would do something his first year. He really was. He's had 2 years coming in, so he may still be a big factor this season. It's just not clear. I don't know. He may fit better in the Rodriguez system than he, would in Brown's system. We just don't know much about him. And we've got Bram, who, again, seemed to kind of be coming on a little bit late. He started as a receiver out of high school, had to add muscle and weight. Have to see how he develops. Now coming in, we have Accuardi. Should be a solid tight end, but a freshman. And Barrick transferring in. Oops, pardon me. Receivers, I did leave out that we have Bowie and Singleton both transferring in. I think one from Jacksonville State. Yeah, one from Jacksonville State, one Eastern Michigan, if I'm remembering correctly. Bowie might be a major factor. Singleton, I have questions about. He is, the shifty, fast type, but I'm not convinced he proved a whole lot at Eastern Michigan. I think Gallagher would be ahead of him significantly. And so I don't think he would be a replacement if Gallagher leaves. Now, tight end, Acuardi and Barrett. Barrett coming in from Jacksonville State. Don't know a lot about him, but he knows the system. That will be his advantage. Whether he starts or not, he can help, if he's willing, the other guys learn the system. Traylon Davis appears to be leaving football, call it retirement. He's not in the portal, but not expected back. And his choice, as far as I understand. And, of course, Cole Taylor graduated. We'll probably see him in the NFL. Offensive line is where things do get. Receiver and offensive line are the two biggest questions, and they're very big questions. Losing Williams to the transfer portal hurts a heck of a lot. He played enough to get the feel for the game this past season. Looked good. Expected to be able to replace Milam fairly well. And then we get a gap. We have remaining Cray, Austin, Altuner, Young, Terry, Livingston, and Bosley. Now, Bosley, of course, played the year before with Rodriguez, so he's familiar with the system. Talented, had this season working with Mike Joseph and the nutrition program to up his game. Wasn't ready this year. Should be ready next year, so he should be good to very good. Cray, high expectations, and hopefully is ready. He'll be in his, I think, third year in the program. Altuner, of course, injured this year. High expectations, really would have helped if he had been able to get some playing time this year. But Livingston, I still expect to start at center. He has been around. He did reasonably well when he played. Still showed signs of being young. But the whole line comes under the talented but young heading, or ranging from talented but young to talented but very dang young. So it's a question. Now, coming in, Hamady and Davis were kind of late adds to the class. Buchanan and Crawford considered big gets for the offensive line, but they'll be freshmen. And again, the system will be somewhat simpler. And you've got one blocking style. You're not doing gap blocking. You're just doing zone blocking. So you're not learning multiple blocking approaches. So these guys could play a factor. This could help the other slightly less young guys, step in. But I don't expect Buchanan or Crawford to do big things this year. Good for the future. We have brought in Young Bear, transfer commitment. 1 year left, so he adds experience. We need the experience, but part of me wants the young guys to be good enough to beat him out. But we do need the experience. They may still sign another guy with 1 or 2 years experience just for the experience. Leaving, of course, Williams, I already mentioned, and Tomas Rimac, those both hurt. They were going to anchor the line. Then you would have Livingston with some experience at center. And then, you've got, one guard, one tackle. Well, Bosley, again, expectations are there. So the line looked pretty good, but you lose, your most experienced guy and your second most experienced guy. So, and graduating, Milam, Yates, Hubbard, and Malone. So, line is left in a bit of a mess. I do think, I think the talent is there. It may be a big problem early in the season. Hopefully they come together after the first few games. But it is always difficult to predict. Offensive line needs to gel to really work. Whether you're doing gap blocking or zone blocking, they need to gel. And you just can't predict when that's going to happen. A lot of these guys have been together a while. Some of them have been here for 3 years or into their third year. But how that will come together is probably the determining factor for the season, maybe even bigger than defense. Having said that, I will get to defense in a day or so. And of course, whole lot of questions on defense, including who the heck the defensive coordinator is going to be and what kind of defense they're going to bring. We don't know the offensive coordinator, but we know the offense, which may be part of why we're having trouble getting an offensive coordinator. A lot of them don't want to come in and run somebody else's offense with them calling the play, with Rodriguez calling the plays. Guys who are kind of working up and who haven't been an offensive coordinator, it's a stepping stone for them. But if you're an offensive coordinator, even at a lower program or a co-offensive coordinator, something like that, stepping over, and you don't get to run your offense and you don't get to call plays, it's an issue. We may still see Rodriguez take the title. We may still see Chad Scott. Right now, he's not expected to be offensive coordinator. Maybe they have something in the works, but nothing is leaking. So we have to take our Valium and wait or something like that. Yeah. Or whatever your preferred anti-anxiety approach may be, whether it comes in a glass bottle or meditation, whatever you got. It's starting to look like we're going to need it. Anyway, I do expect news anytime now. And I am, of course, going to go back online and see if anything has happened. In the meantime, appreciate you coming by, and so long.